All right, says we're live. How's everybody doing tonight? Sorry, I didn't put out very much notice for this week. I wasn't feeling very well. So, as I said, not last week because I didn't do a show last week. The week before, I was traveling to Miami last week, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do a show, and timing just didn't work out, so I didn't do it. So I was sick when I got back from there. Got delayed on travel. Great time. Um, and sort of just decided to put this one together last minute. So I didn't put out much notice. I apologize for that. So, with that out of the way, it kind of brought up some topics. So, I guess first things first, Miami was a blast. One of the great things about networking with very good gentlemen is getting together and having these live meetups and getting together with the boys, enjoying some cocktails, some cigars, discussing ideas in open forums, sitting around. You get a much better, a much different feel for people live and in person than you do electronically over Zoom, Skype, internet, all these things. So these are great contact forums, but your true bondings can really take place live and in person. There's just it's a different level of connection there, and so it was fantastic to all the boys that were there. Awesome. Can't wait to do it again. Next week would be great, but we all have lives and businesses and stuff to run, so that probably won't happen. We will be there next year though. So if you have thought about doing something like this, that might be something you want to sort of schedule in the back of your mind and plan for. Budget to do a boys trip in Miami in February. Go back to the boat show and do that. So we're talking about a couple more this year. Release some details on those. We have things ironed out a little bit more than loose ideas at this point that they are. And these are great things. So on the way down, I flew out to Toronto and I stopped in Toronto for a couple of days and met up with some of my guys out there. Chris Amy, who's called in on my show several times, went for dinner with him and a couple of the other guys, and we talked business, talked ideas, where we think some things are going, all that sort of stuff, where the economy is going, and trends we're seeing and whatnot. So these are the advantages of these things: is you really start to pick up little bits and pieces of different things you maybe weren't aware of, weren't paying attention to, stuff like that. So yeah, I see that. A little more than a week's notice. Well, we've been talking about it for about 6 months or something like that, but it was kind of one of those things that sort of fell off and then kind of came back on towards the end. I wasn't 100% sure I was doing it in the beginning. Well, in the beginning, I was like, yes, I'm going to go. And then I wasn't sure. Towards the end, it was like, nah, this has to happen. I have to make this happen. And I'm so glad I did. The opportunity was fantastic. Some of the people that I met there, even met people who aren't in our group, that are outside of our group in other groups, that other people who are in a group are friends with and do business with outside of it. And the opportunity to meet with them, and I may have put a deal together with one of them. We're discussing that. So these trips can actually turn into something more than a quote unquote vacation. It's a workcation. It was a very much a social gathering, but when you decide you want to go down the path of entrepreneurship, business ownership, your vacations are rarely vacations anymore. There's always a hint of some business aspects and stuff like that involved in it. And with that kind of come about the topic and the genesis for tonight's topic. There was a bit of some misunderstanding there, and just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Help some people with. I know I've got some young guys. I've got some older guys who are seasoned gentlemen who have businesses and own them and run them, and so this won't be new to them. I'm hoping some of them will call in and offer up some bits and advice. I'm dropping the join link for to call in here right away. So if any of you guys are picking up on what I'm talking about and you have some insights and stuff you want to add, please, by all means, hop on the call and we'll chop it up and kind of dissect a few of these things. So kind of where this comes in is something I've mentioned several times, maybe more surface level. Maybe I didn't pay enough attention to it, and I need to implore this upon some of you young guys a little bit more, is this thing called situational awareness. Largely, I primarily think about situational awareness, out in the wild, and a lot of the things that I do, because I spend a lot of time in the mountains and in the bush, and where there are animals who will literally eat you. So you have to be aware of your surroundings and what's going on around you, because mountain lions hide in trees above your normal, typical line of eyesight, and they will get you when you're not suspecting if you don't have that situational awareness. Because I grew up in that environment, this is naturally ingrained in me. I've been encountering bears since I was 5 years old. So there's a natural situational awareness that's hardwired into me that maybe isn't for a lot of people. Um, and this has helped me and carried me a long way in life. And it's something I take for granted because it is so hardwired and so natural. And that's why I thought this would be a good idea to maybe talk about this a little bit more, put this subject out there. Um, is the ability to have a sense of what's going on around you, even if you can't see it, you don't know it, it's your first time encountering it, whatever the case may be. Um, so let's break it down as far as this event, because you're thinking, well, what the hell does a mountain lion up in a tree have to do jumping down with you when you're sitting around having drinks and smoking cigars with the boys? Well, if you're a young guy and new to business, or want to get into business, or you're thinking along those lines, here's something to think about: is largely people come in focused, and you don't have that world of knowledge and everything that's around you. You know what's in front of you and you know what you want, but you aren't aware of the obstacles along the way, the things that can attack you from the periphery, so to speak. And this is the situational awareness. When you are looking at doing something, or starting a business, or selling your services or your product to somebody, largely what people are focused on when they first start to do this is, you know, the sale of their product, their service, their goal, what they're after, and they don't notice the things that are around. Largely, when you're going to do business with somebody, most people at a certain level or at a significant level of business aren't looking for a reason to do business with you, because when you get to a point in business, you want to do business with almost anybody, because almost anybody can help you if they run a business that you can benefit from, or you run a business they can benefit from, vice versa. The marriage of the two is mutually beneficial for everybody. So people aren't looking for reasons at these levels, are looking less for reasons to do business with you. They're looking more for reasons not to do business with you. So what does that mean? Well, if you're encountering some people for the first time and you're trying to make a pitch and get noticed and maybe grow your idea, grow your hobby into an actual business, what this means is there are 1,000 things to do to get to your business, and you think, okay, cool, I did 999 right, I only did one wrong, so I did all right. The problem is that one wrong could be that one thing that they're looking for to not do business with you. And that is the whole situational awareness thing that I speak of. Is you can literally do 999 things right, and that one tiny tiny little thing can be the mistake that costs you the opportunity, and you may never get that opportunity again. So you need to be acutely aware of those one tiny little things, this situational awareness of these very, very little subtle cues that are the difference between somebody going, hey, I like this guy, this is great, or that one thing that makes them go, that seems off. Not sure what that is there, but there's something I don't like, so I'm not interested in continuing. And this goes back to the gut feeling, which is your hindbrain that is evolutionary designed and developed in all of us, and we can't turn that off. We are all hardwired with this in our DNA. It's how we work. It's how we have protected ourselves from predators in the past as, plains wandering tribal people, how we stayed alive so the saber-toothed tiger didn't come and get us. The ability to think through these things and to be aware of, you know, the gut feeling that something tells me this person is trouble, and being associated with them is going to put me in a bad position, and I'm going to get caught by that saber-toothed tiger, so to speak, and get eaten. So therefore, I am not going to allow myself to be put there. So I'm not going to associate with this person. These same acute senses are alive and well in us. And when you decide to go into business, you're going to learn to pay attention to these things, because these will be the difference between, your successes and failures. As always, you will always fail in business. That is part of life. That is part of success. Success is built on a series of failures. You try to limit those failures as much as possible. So that's why when you get those funny little tingly feelings in the pit of your stomach, that's a warning sign that this is a potential failure. And so you'll avoid it. And that will come from not avoiding it one time, having that failure or that thing you ignored bite you in the ass, and you'll realize to yourself, I'm not going to do this again. So you won't. You don't want that one little thing you do to set that spidey sense off in the person you were trying to impress or you're trying to make a pitch to. And this is what situational awareness in the modern day world means. So it is the antithesis of, did 999 things right, did one wrong, and I blew the deal and I'm not sure. And the boss says, can you fix it? No. You might think you can. He already knows you can't. And that's why. So you need to be acutely aware of these things. So they can be the tiniest of the little things. I want to kind of dance around this a little bit, because some of the people that were involved in this might be watching, and I'm not going to name people publicly and call them out. I don't do that. I'm waiting to have a conversation with somebody, with a couple of people about this. But anyhow, regardless, it's all good. But there are subtle little things. So if you're coming along on an event like this, and your entry level into business or something like that, you're looking to learn, you don't want to be the person that potentially causes someone else to lose out on a deal. Imagine that. Imagine showing up at an event, participating, not being aware of this, but you're associated with, let's just take it for example, you're associated with me. And, we've kind of talked about it, but not really deeply. You're not really situationally aware, but, you're a young guy looking for an opportunity and a chance, and we're kind of coach you along and teach you some things. And you make that one little mistake, and the other person is sitting there going, well, he's associated with you, and that was a very obvious mistake, and you allowed that to be in your orbit, and you put that in your situation. That associates that mistake with me, and then I lose out on the deal. So imagine you're that person that costs the person you're with something very large. You never want to be that. So that is kind of the antithesis of what I'm getting at here. Is you never want to be the thing that brings down the value of the room, so to speak. So don't allow yourself to ever be the person that comes into a really nice neighborhood, buys a nice home in this nice neighborhood, then you never cut your grass, you never trim your hedges, you let your house fall apart and go to shit, and you bring down the property value for everybody else in the neighborhood. People won't like you, and you won't understand why. Take a look around. This is not hard. Some of this stuff is not hard to figure out. So with these things, just kind of think of it along those lines of, I'm here to learn. This really isn't about me, so it's not that important as to who I am. But it is, because your reflection reflects on someone else, and that reflection reflects on the person they are trying to do business with. And these are very important things. So you don't want to be that person that does that. So trying to think of something else. Another way might be easier to put it. Here we go. Think of the movies. We've all seen these scenes. They're hilarious. A couple of millionaires, fancy restaurant, having lunch, trashy hooker comes in and, lowers value of the place, embarrasses the shit out of him. Everybody points and laughs and blah, blah, blah. You don't want to be the trashy hooker. So don't be the trashy hooker, that sort of thing. So the idea of this is, make sure that you are carrying yourself in good light, present a good appearance, dress appropriately, speak appropriately. If there's a topic or a conversation going on that you don't understand or is, above your level, and I had one of these actually just before I left to go out, I'm going to bring that part up and include that in this, then it's best to just kind of sit back and, don't put yourself right in the limelight. Just sit back a little and, strike a pose where you're interested and pay attention and listen. Even if you can't pick up a lot of it, pay attention like you are. You don't necessarily have to offer up very much. You probably won't be asked a lot. And if you are, just say something along the lines of, this is a little above where I'm at. I'm picking up bits and pieces, but I'm learning a lot. So I'm just observing, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to soak up this information and learn some things. And I don't want to interfere. So please continue. And, thank you for allowing me to observe and participate that way. This sort of respect will go a long way. And this is pretty much exactly what I did. I was invited down to a dinner, got a message, hey, we've been talking about this other little project over here. I have a meeting tonight with my PR firm, my marketing team, my event coordinator, and there was someone else that I can't say because it'll give it away. So I'm going to leave that particular thing out. Suffice to say, this person is putting together a very large, extravagant deal. There's going to be a lot of moving parts. There's going to be a lot of people. This is a deal beyond anything I've ever been involved in, beyond anything I've ever done. I was quite surprised I was asked to attend, but I was not about to pass up the opportunity, because even though this is way beyond what I've done, it doesn't mean there isn't things I can't learn. So I put on good clothes, went down, and did exactly that. I sat and observed, listened, made some notes, paid attention through things, and I never said anything unless I was asked. And I was only asked 3 times through the night. And one was a thank you, and the other one was, yes, I would like a drink, rather than coffee now that it's done. And the third one was towards the end. And it was, you've been awful quiet this evening, but you've been here through all of it. A few of the people had left, and we're down to just a couple of us left. And I was asked, so you haven't said a whole lot, but you've observed a lot. You've got some notes. What are your thoughts? What have you seen on this? And so I said, well, tell me about this particular part and these ads in this campaign that you're running. And they're like, well, okay, pretty basic. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. It's okay. Well, I've been studying the algorithms on the platform you plan to market on, and your plan is great. There's 2 small problems with it. Number 1 is your scheduling. You're missing the peak times. According to the information I've been able to glean, these times of the week, these days of the week, and these times of those days are the peak traffic times, and you don't have them listed in your plan. And I think you should shift it around, because you have this one and this one, which are at literally the worst times. I would take those out and I would put them over here based on what I've found. I don't know how to run the entire campaign that way, but maybe give it a try as something to do. And something else you've done is you've set your ad up. I'm not going to say what it is. I don't want to give this particular point away, because this is something I'm going to get into in another week or two with the topic. I'm going to bring a guest on who's going to help with this. And I don't want to give this away until he does, because he's going to break this down at a much higher level than I can, and I don't want to screw it up. So in respect of that, I'm going to say that there's a particular format. Yes. Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate that. Do me a favor, guys, smash that like button. It costs you nothing. Drop some comments. Maybe after this thing is done and actually published live, post a comment or 2 on YouTube, on actual YouTube for me, so that it helps the algorithms there and gets us out. Share it with somebody if you think it would be like, yeah. I never promote that because just me doing my silly little thing, but I'm going to start taking a bit of a shift here, going in a slightly different direction. There's going to be a lot of value about to come with this, so I would appreciate your guys' help. So with the way they had it formatted, there was one little piece of it. I said, this here, I know you think isn't a problem, but if you think about it from the platform standpoint, what you're doing here is actually counterintuitive to the way the platform wants to work. So therefore, when you do this, they're actually going to downrank your reach because they don't want you pushing this because it goes against the way their platform works. So because of that, even though you're paying for the ads, they're going to actually lower your exposure. There's less likely it's going to get that extra bump of reach that you're hoping for. And they were both like, we've been doing this for a very long time. We've done this. How are you figuring this out? I just turned my computer around and said, well, here's the one experiment that I have ran. Here's the best thing I have ever done until this point in time. I analyzed all of this, and I did it according to this once. And now this is a one-time thing, so just take it for what it's worth. But on my first attempt at it, I have 4 times the reach in 30 hours than I had in my best post ever in a week. It's a significant change. 30 hours as opposed to a week, only following the rules of the stuff that I had just found out. So that was rather significant. And they were like, holy cow, you actually have something of value here. So this is the thing of being situationally aware, of realizing most of the topic of this conversation that was going on, that they were discussing, was way above my head. The bits and pieces they got to that I understood and I knew well, I realized at that point I have a value. I'm just going to sit here and wait until it's asked or towards the end, and then I'll offer what I know, which is what I did. And they actually ran the experiment with it, and they have completely retargeted their entire marketing approach on this because it made a significant change to anything they've done in the past. So that is the thing of being situationally aware, to realize I'm in over my head. I'm just going to sit back here. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to learn a thing or two. When something comes along where I have something to offer, I'll offer it. If nothing comes along that I have to offer, I'll thank them for allowing me the opportunity to learn. Say I don't really have anything of value to add, but I really appreciate the educational experience this has been to me. And because of that, I've been asked to advise a little bit more on some roles with that. So nothing has happened at this point in time, but these are the things of paying attention to what's going on around you, how it can take you places. So this is how you raise the value of where you're at, as opposed to killing it. And this is where your real opportunities will come from. This is where your real growth will come from. Because once again, people are not necessarily looking for reasons to do business with you. They're looking for a reason not to. If you don't give them a reason not to, hey, when you're in business, the entire idea of being in business is to do business, to make a return on your investment and make money. So you don't look for reasons to not do business lightly. You take that very seriously. You pay attention. You're always looking for new areas you can do business with. And so therefore, as long as nobody gives you a sign to not do business with them, that is a green light to do business with you. So don't be the reason not to. As long as you're not the reason not to, then you're always the reason to. Slightly different way of looking at it. And that's the situational awareness. And that's the thing a lot of people miss. A lot of people miss that. So excuse the throat here, a little bit of cough going on. So these are some of the little things of, knowing what's going on around you. And with this comes, how you present yourself. Keep yourself clean, well kept. Anytime I do the show, I'm always cleaned up, shave, trim. I don't shave because it's a pain in the butt. I trim, but I do the messy hair look. It's always this way. This is how I do it. I will occasionally really slick back, rarely. This is what I do. It's my style. But you know, it's also different. I'm a 50-year-old man. I can do this and I can pull it off. I have the social awareness and these skills to be able to do this and still fit in. If you are a younger person and you're just getting in, the little things that some guys will get cut slack on that you think, well, they do it, so I should be able to do the same thing. You haven't achieved that status yet, so you maybe can't. So keep these things in check in how you want to do it. And perception in business, perception is everything. So, don't allow yourself to be perceived as someone not ideal to do business with, because that could be the one thing, right? That could be the one out of the 999. Just don't do it. It's the simplest of little things. You're going to an event, you're coming down for that. Like, yes, it was a working vacation, but it was a working vacation. We were going down to have business discussions and business meetings. I brought her along nice clothes, dress shirts, dress slacks, nice shorts, jacket, sports coat, stuff like that. And the one thing about it, got it right here, is, wearing a casual shirt. Well, this very same thing, we do that, slap on the sport coat, and all of a sudden, I'm now very stylish. It's the same thing. So you can kind of put yourself in a place where you maybe, you come in slightly overdressed and you take a look around and you realize, oh, maybe you overdone it a little bit here. You can very easily drop that back off, hang your jacket on a chair, continue your evening, and now you're casual with everybody else. But if you don't come in overdressed, you can't updress. If you're overdressed, you can always take it down a notch. So always think of that. When you get to the point where you are an entrepreneur, you're self-employed, you're always looking for an opportunity to do business. You always want to make sure that you're not the person that's bringing down the value of the place. You can always come in overvalued, overdressed, and you can always pull it back. You can come in suit and tie, realize, oh, nobody here is suit and tie. They're, dress shirts. The odd guy's got a sport coat on. You can pull the tie off, drop it in your pocket, no problem. Now you fit right in. But you come in, golf shirt and shorts, and everybody else is in jacket and tie. You're the proverbial hooker, cheap hooker in the restaurant, right? Don't be that guy. So when you're not at these points, you need to have yourself in a position to overdo it. When I was young, I had a couple of guys. That tried to help me out a little bit, and most of it was largely over my head, and I really appreciated the opportunity. And I went to a few of their business meetings, and they were mostly business casual. It was drinks and discussions, but they always talked business. A lot of times we went when we do a round of golf, and then we'd have lunch and discussions afterwards. They always wore nice dress shirts and a sport coat. I never really could understand or pull off that style when I was 20 years old. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't know how to do it. So what I did was, no, that's not what I'm getting at. You know who I'm talking to. What I did is, I had a suit and tie. It was a cheap suit and tie. It was a $200 suit and tie. And I knew it was a cheap suit and tie. They knew it was a cheap suit and tie. But they knew every single damn time I came to a business meeting, I was always going to be in a suit and tie. Always. I was never coming in jeans and a t-shirt. I spent most of my time in a jeans and t-shirt, but I would never go to one of those events like that. That was my way of showing respect to them of, thank you, gentlemen, for bringing me along and trying to teach me some stuff that is clearly over my head. Um, it becomes that you're showing respect to those that are bringing you by presenting a fantastic appearance. And this, it's a matter of respect, it's appreciation. And when you don't do that, if you do show up, at your nice event, in a t-shirt and a pair of, I don't know, ripped jeans or something like that and some old running shoes, if you're not. Now, at the one event we were at, there was a guy in ripped jeans and a crappy t-shirt and a pair of what are those called? Chucks. Yeah. The dude's a billionaire. He can show up and wear whatever he wants. We were at the Miami Boat Show. He could have bought any one of those boats with cash. He can show up whatever the hell he wants because he can, because he's that guy. But I couldn't, because I'm not that guy. I can't do that. To him, it's not bringing down the value of the neighborhood because his prowess and his financial wherewithal raises it. So there's more than one way to do it. And so these are the things to think about when you're doing this. And this is the showing of the respect of the people you're with, is when you do show up wearing, the crappy t-shirt and ripped jeans, and you're with guys who are helping you develop your business, who are constantly giving you business ideas, and who are dropping markets and literally dropping business in your lap. Like, we literally were doing this. It's like, hey, do you realize you just basically got some orders? You just basically took an idea. We helped you put it together to a business. And the way this is talking, these guys have essentially almost gave you pre-orders. We started your business. Congratulations. You're welcome. And then you show up in ripped jeans and a t-shirt to an event. That's an insult to us. We spent hours of our time helping you with your idea, coming up with things, formulating it, working things in so that potential orders are dropping in your lap. And the respect isn't there to not bring down our value when we show up at an event. And these are the things of the do 999 things right, but you do that one thing wrong, that opportunity walks and it never comes back again. Imagine that. And that same thing could have been the antithesis that costed somebody else their deal at the same time. So while we were down there, a couple guys were talking about something worth, let's just say, an awful lot of money, a very, very large potential deal. You don't want to be the person that ruins that. So once again, I've dropped the join link in the chat if anybody wants to call in and kind of help me chop it up on this. I literally have nothing prepared. This is completely off the top of my head. Literally come up with this idea this afternoon. So just kind of riffing, and more than open to chopping it up. But these are the things you don't ever want to do. You never want to be that person. This is the this is the situational awareness. So that, well, this is what I'm comfortable in. Boom, was the mountain lion just dropped off that 12-foot tree and took him out. There's a correlation. Didn't even see it coming because he was comfortable. And he was concerned with his comfort. Now, I enjoy getting dressed up. I feel good. And I like the way I look when I'm dressed up. I really like the attention I get from women when I'm dressed up. And trust me, when you learn how to do this and dress properly, you will get a shit ton of attention when you are dressed this way. Like a lot. And it's really good. And these are things that will also help your level and help boost your confidence and push you to that next level. You don't realize these little things that, the stuff you wear, and sometimes it may be uncomfortable at first, but after a little bit, you'll become comfortable in it. And that is fantastic. Well said. Comfort is a killer. In business, 100% right. Comfort is a killer. Don't ever be scared to be on the edge. Being on the edge is where you're going to be sharp and where you're going to make things happen. When you're comfortable is when you're going to relax, you're going to drop your guard, and that's where you're going to slip up and make that mistake. Comfort is a killer. Well said. So, sorry, a bit of a distraction there. That was fantastic. These are the things that, these are the little situational awareness things, and with that, if you don't know what's going on and you don't understand, everything that's going on around you, you don't have that situational awareness of, what are you talking about, Bentley? Like, I'm sitting here, these guys are talking about, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Well, Jaron's called in on the show. Jaron was down there in Miami. We all know Jaron has absolutely zero problem with women because he's got them lined up like they're sandwiches stacked up out the door. Poor analogy, but he does. I have no problem meeting women whatsoever as well. We're both good in social settings. We're both very social people. So there wasn't a whole lot of that around. Well, think for a moment. Well, why? Like this is normal for these guys. Why not? The entire room reads off of things. So, when you're kind of sitting there and you're all sort of hunched over, your social vibe is killing not just yourself, but the entire table and those that are around you. So even if you feel like you're uncomfortable because you're dressed in something that you're not used to, you're in a situation that's a little over your head, shoulders back, open posture, sit back and your head up, pay attention, smile, look around. Having that open posture, people will open up and talk to you. And another thing that if you don't necessarily know what to say and what's going around, just having that ability to just sort of sit there and observe, but be open and smile and, nod your head and that, people are going to engage with you. And you can really draw someone into a conversation without putting very much in, which will really help you learn a lot. Also make the person you're speaking with like you a lot, because what's everybody's favorite subject? It's themselves. So, if you feel like, wow, I got somebody talking to me who's, at a level I can't get to, I don't really know what's going on, I'm nervous as shit. Let the nerves pass you. It's the thing I talk about. Be a master of your emotions, not a slave to them, not a victim of them. Just allow that to wash over you for a minute. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's a billionaire sitting across the table from you and you are barely making ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck. He puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like you do. So he's still a person. He's a human being. Have a conversation like that. Ask them some questions and ask them to, what do you call it? Just ask them questions about themselves and let them say their thing. And, if they say something that's a little bit more, just say, I didn't quite understand that. Can you expand on that a little bit more? Give me a little more on that. I'm new to this thing. What you said was a little beyond me. I'm trying to learn, trying to pick this up. Can you expand on that? You haven't really said anything. You've really contributed not very much at all to the conversation, but now you've given them a reason to continue and to continue talking to you because you asked them about them and about their thing. And yeah, I want to talk about myself and my thing. So of course they're going to continue to talk to you about themselves and their thing because themselves and their thing is always their favorite subject. So, let them go on. And then maybe something else will come up. That's one more thing you don't understand. And just say, oh, okay, cool. I understood what you meant there. Like I said, I'm new to this whole thing. So you said this other thing that this is also new to me. I've not heard this before. Help me with that. Like, I'm learning a lot here. I really appreciate that. Oh, cool. You want to learn more about what I'm doing? Oh, great. Now they're just going to continue to engage. And before long, this guy's going to take you and drag you around and introduce you to people. You can start talking to other people. You can do this all night long and literally not add anything to the conversation other than asking questions. I shit you not. You can do this. You'd be amazed what you can learn. People want to talk about themselves as much as anything. So, and when they're talking about themselves like that, the fact that you are dressed in clothes you're not used to, the fact that you're uncomfortable gets lost on them because they're talking about their thing. They're talking about the stuff they're interested in. So they have the rose colored glasses on. And the fact that you're nervous in your uncomfortable clothes doesn't matter to them. You ask them about themselves, they're talking about their favorite subject, they're looking at you with rose tinted glasses, and you're a fantastic person. And so your whole nervous thing, you just slide right on by. Doesn't really matter. You have great conversations, you have some great networking opportunities. They're probably going to introduce you to a bunch more people. You may learn some things of your idea that you thought was good, realize somebody has something else to offer you didn't even know. Or at this point, then they may ask you what you're doing. Say, well, I'm kind of new at this, but I'm starting this kind of little business over here, but it's not at your guys' level. It's just something small, but this is what I'm doing. This is kind of what I'm thinking. This is what my friends have suggested to me. And, that I should niche down and specialize in this. And one of these guys might hear something and go, oh, I need that. That's exactly what I need. Can you do this, this, and this? Yeah, actually I can. Cool. Let's talk about it. Let's put something together. This is how things work. This is the don't do 999 things right and do the one thing wrong that gets you rejected. Just don't do the one thing wrong. And by not doing the one thing wrong is simply asking people questions, talking about them, letting them open up with their thing. And they've got all their thing out there, so happy they've been able to tell you what they want. They'll ask you about yours and just, well, it's something small and I'm kind of doing this little thing here and they're suggesting that. And now, oh, cool, I've explained everything about what I'm doing to this guy. He's talking about this and I understand something about that. I have an opportunity to help him. He's made me feel really good. Helping him is going to make me feel good too. If they want to feel good, they're going to help you. This is your development. This is how you take those next steps. It's really simple, actually. It's fantastic. Trying to think of something else to go on that, but kind of running out of steam on it. Like I said, the join links are there. Yeah, Chris said it again, and appreciate that. It costs nothing to smash the like button. Do me a favor and smash that. If you know anybody you think could use this, forward it on to them. Like I said, kind of decided with our talks down in Miami and whatnot, I'm going to take a slight shift. I haven't figured out precisely exactly what I'm going to do with the channel, but I'm going to take a bit more of a little more business-minded direction. I'm going to kind of move to that. Absolutely, Jaron. I'm going to kind of move maybe a little bit more business-minded because I'm starting over, at this stage in life, which actually isn't stage over. I don't know if you found the join link there. I'll put it in again. I see there's been a bunch of comments, so just let me drop it here. Give me 1 second. There we go. So, I'm starting over, but I'm not starting over again because I've actually started and built a business and I'm starting something new with a shit ton of experience with owning my own business for 26 years before this. So, I'm new in this business, but I'm not new in business. And yes, let me get right to that. And so I'm going to take my channel a little bit in that twist because I know there are some people who are looking to start businesses or younger guys who want to get to that direction. I know a lot of young people want to become entrepreneurs, don't necessarily know how. So since I'm sort of entry level and starting up in my new one, I'm going to kind of spread some of the stuff that I'm doing there. I'm going to start bringing on some more guests and talking about things in that direction. Might do some collaborating with some other guys as well on something else as a side project. But those are the directions I'm going to go. I might start doing some just recordings from my desk, drop them as like shorter videos that are on here and whatnot. So, but Kevin asked me, he says, can I elaborate more on the importance of active listening in business? Yes. So that is exactly what I was talking about before, along the lines of the active listening is, if somebody is talking about something that is over your head and you're going along and you're missing, let's say you're missing 90% of the conversation because it's over your head, but really pay attention to it because there's going to be bits and pieces that you'll be able to pull out. And so what active listening is when it comes to it, and then they ask you, and you don't necessarily know exactly what's going on. Active listening is um, essentially repeating back, say, the last three to what, maybe 10 words or something that they said, and a slight twist to have them expand on it a little bit more. That it shows that you are actively listening because you're using the actual words that they used, and you're asking for more clarification. So they know you're not just asking a dumb question. You're not just sitting there going, don't got a clue what you're saying, asking a dumb question. You're asking a relevant question using the correct words and correct terminology. That is what my understanding of active listening is. That's not what I'm talking about, Kevin. By all means, please call in and let's chat about it. So, anyhow, Jaren in here. So,
Hey, how's it going? I'm glad you caught me. I realized I was picking my nose in the post show. I'm like, oh shit, I could go live at any moment. Probably shouldn't do that.
I saw that. I was like, I better wait for a couple of seconds on that.
I appreciate that. Well, because you'll get in these backstages, and then I've got 26 tabs open, and I'm actually signing a guy up for top 10% right now. So, like, I was paying attention to that. Yeah. So I'm going to start doing more live streams, kind of like we talked quite a bit in Miami. I'm going to make this my full-time gig. It's a scary proposition, but I think I'm going to place financially to where if I were to make $0 moving forward, I could still afford to live in Mexico for like the next 2 or 3 years. I'm like, all right, I need to take the plunge and take this shit seriously. And we had some fantastic conversations in Miami. I do apologize. My stream went a little long. I try not to step on you, Rich, and Moss toes, since we're all kind of in the same network, but got a new guy. He's signed up right now. So it looks like he'll join the post show with us. We can get him introduced. And now that I'm not doing the corporate stuff anymore, it's like I'm starting to come back alive. It's weird how soul sucking those types of jobs are. It's like, oh, I'm back in doing what I enjoy doing. So I definitely, Bentley, appreciate you and the other guys that joined us in Miami for those conversations. Did you already give a recap on our trip, or?
I didn't give a real detailed recap on that. I thought I might because I was sick when I got home, which I never really said that in the beginning. So I had some flight delays on the way home.
Yeah, your itinerary sucked.
Oh, it sucked. It sucked. So for me on the way home, I had to be at the airport at 4:00 in the morning or 4:20 in the morning to fly out of Miami on Sunday morning. So we knew we were going to stay out late on Saturday. So I thought, what the hell's the point of getting back to the Airbnb at like 3:00 in the morning to sleep for half an hour to be at the airport for little after 4. So the plan was to stay out all night long. So, Jerry and Justice, Jerry and I, we had cigars and drinks at the cigar lounge until they kicked us out. Then we went to another club until they kicked us out. Then we bullshitted on the street with a cop for a little while.
That was a cool conversation. That was a cool cop.
Great conversation.
Yeah.
So, and then Justice and I literally were waiting for our Uber to get there. He finally gets there. We get to the house, the Airbnb, and I'm like, dude, I need a hand packing. I'm only
now. Yeah, you got to turn around quick.
So we got to the house, to the Airbnb, and literally Justice and I straight into my room, and bing, bang, boom, was packed and out the door in 6 minutes. Went straight to the airport. So, and then I got delayed. It was already a long trip anyhow, but I got delayed 6 hours in Toronto. They had a aircraft issue. You had to bring another one in. So I was up for 52 hours.
Oh, Lord.
From the time that I got up on Saturday morning in Miami until I went to bed Monday morning. When I say Monday morning, I'm talking like 2:30 in the morning. And back home. It was brutal. And then I got a cold or something along the way. I've been just bagged and out of commission for the last couple of days.
That sucks. I know my last few Miami trips, when I do the cigars all weekend, it dries out my throat, and then I'll get the swollen glands, and maybe I'll get a cold. This time around was surprising. I mean, energy-wise, it took me a couple of days to recover, but today I woke up normal time, back in my normal routine. I'm like, all right, I feel like I'm normal again. Typically, I don't stay out till 4 a.m. drinking every night, 3 nights in a row, and that kind of screws up your sleep cycle there a bit.
Yeah, I hear you. Cool, awesome. Well, let's announce that. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah,
Cool.
I saw that. Yeah, awesome.
Guys hit 100 subs. Yeah,
first
cool.
milestone. Next step
first
is
milestone. First hit the 100. Wanted to do
next
that
step
by
is
New Year's
1,000.
Eve, but next is 1,000. Absolutely. So, do me a favor, share it around, guys. So it's
Hell yeah,
get
you're definitely on the way. Yeah, Bentley, I was gonna say I wouldn't mind collaborating more either. I just got off a stream with another guy that I believe he's in Paul Benjamin's group, and he originally started an MLD's group. So I'm gonna start reaching out to other guys and trying to get more FaceTime in front of new audiences because I think I want to give this a go. Outside of just a hobby type thing.
Yeah, definitely. So like you said, we had great conversations in Miami. I think we could do some really fun collaborations because you do a slightly different style of content than I do, but I have no problem talking about your content either. So that'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be great. So yeah, guys watching that aren't already part of the top 10% group, you can actually sign up through Bentley now. Definitely get in there. We had our first. I don't say it was an officially sanctioned group meetup, but enough guys were going. It's like, yeah, fuck it, let's go, and it ended up being a really cool experience. So hopefully we're able to do a lot more of that. Aside from, to be honest, we went for a boat show, probably spent like an hour, 2 hours at the boat show, mainly had a couple drinks on the dock, but spent the time just walking around, having some good bar conversations, enjoying the scenery. And boy, was there some scenery. And overall, it was a good trip. Yeah. I know I should have stayed another day or two. I always, normally when I do these trips, I'll get in a day or two early and I stay a day or two later so I can convert on some of these leads I got set up. But when I booked this trip, I still had the corporate contract. I'm like, oh, I can only be gone for this many days. And then I dropped that. I'm like, shit, I should have stayed here a whole week or even 2 weeks or, because got some good leads. Yeah.
My extended layover in Toronto was just for the hell of it. I opened up. I had 19 new hits, girls that matched and commented while I was
within a mile of the airport.
And I'm like, shit, where were you guys 24 hours ago?
I know, right?
Yeah, so I'm with you. Next year I'm going down like you planned, or like you said, we'll go down a week early or something like that and get it figured out. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely fantastic, guys. If you're not already in the top 10% group, you're on the fence, you're considering it, you can sign up through, it's Bentley's channel, sign up through him, or, you can sign up through me or Moff or Rich or whoever too. But
you bet.
But definitely go through Bentley. So, all right, cool. I'm assuming you're doing a post show after this.
I am, as always.
Right.
So
I shall join you. I'm trying to get this new guy in the group. It looks like he's having payment issues with his bank. So maybe, yeah. Well, I'll figure that out real quick. And
I'll let you get that squared away with him, and we'll figure it out after. We'll see you over there later.
All right, sounds good. Bye.
All right. So let's bring Tony in. How you doing, Tony? You're muted, just so you know.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, sir. We didn't get to see you in Miami, buddy.
Yeah, I know. But I'll be going to the Spartan race this weekend, so that's where I'll be.
Good. So
yeah, I just wanted to implement a little bit more on the master your surroundings. I usually recite a quote that I've heard from one of the generals that is during our time. His name is General Mad Dog Mattis. He was the Secretary of Defense for Trump for I think like 2 years or something, 2.5 years. But one of his quotes, it's really that I'm fond of is be polite, be professional, and have a plan to kill everybody you meet. And with that, military guys usually have high sense of awareness in surroundings. Like for instance, like if I were to go to a place or any kind of setting, I always keep my eye on the door and make sure, have an egress route, especially if I'm with my lady or my kids or something like that. So
absolutely.
You were talking about situational awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I had this yesterday where my intuition was telling me not to go to the mountain, and I didn't listen to it. I didn't have that. I was like, you know what? I let ego get in the way of it. And I went to the mountain, the snow, it had rained earlier, and the whole thing was just slushy. Sure enough, I went with my brother. We were going to go scope out some areas to cut some wood, bring some logs back and such. And we only had about, 3 hours. So we ended up going, and sure enough, the road's kind of like this, and then it drops. It drops off to the banks on each side, and I hit a patch of solid ice. Everything else is kind of slushy, and I didn't have enough time to hit the brakes, so I let it roll, and I slid right off the road. And I should have listened to myself before I even left. I should have listened and said, you know what? I'm going to stay here. I'm going to do whatever it is I need to take care of. And sure enough, if that hadn't happened, I would have still been at home. My truck would have been good. There's no damage to nothing. It just took another vehicle to come out and get us. And that's how it is out here. You can't call AAA or whatever and have somebody come out and get you. You have to call like a family member with another, vehicle or such. So even living way out in the country, you have to have like situational awareness, especially if you don't have things available like you do in a city. So you have to prepare for every little thing. And I always carry chain with me in my vehicles, and excuse me, like jacks and a jack stand. Usually, most of the time out here with the country folk, you pull off the road, give somebody some help, and they'll say thank you, or they'll say, hey, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I am in one piece. And nothing bad happened. It was just funny, and that goes back to maintaining your fucks too. So we just laughed about it, and we were just chilling, sitting off the side of the road, half frozen. As you can see here, I went to
you're dressed for it.
I went to round 2 today, but I didn't get stuck. I just, hauled a bunch of logs, got my butt kicked, and now I'm drinking some coffee before I had to go back outside. But that goes back to, what was I going to say? Knowing where you're going to go and then having a plan to execute it, and then having your ability to have an after action. Let's say you're summarizing what you did during that time and how you can make it better. That's pretty much everything that you would come across or do. So even at this moment, right now, I have a meeting this Friday, and there's about, I think, 20 of us, and it's been raining. The ground's getting muddy. It's getting unpredictable. So I'm just another member like everybody else, but I went and called my team leader, I guess, today, and said, hey, I want to make this meeting from 1 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the morning. It's due to, inclement weather, the roads, people need time to drive, to and from wherever the meeting's going to be. And then so on and so forth. And then, it's going to get cold. And I just gave him those reasons. He said, okay, well, we'll go off of you. We'll let you do this. So okay, let's do it. So I contacted the guys that are hosting the meeting, and sure enough, it's at 11, just because of the weather and the road conditions. So stuff like that, I was planning ahead and being aware of, not just myself, but other people, the time travel it takes to go from one place to another. And then the time it takes to actually do the meetings, and our meetings are 4 or 5 hours. I don't want to be there all fucking day. So,
yeah.
So even that, I'm trying to help out my team as well, and be productive in that aspect. And even after I have to go down south, if I have enough time, another 6-hour drive. So I have to make sure I get a full night's rest, Friday night, hydrated. I don't work out too hard on Friday or tomorrow. And then my vehicles are prepped. I do my, we call it PPE, pre-checks and stuff like that.
Excellent.
So just so I can go to, down south, make sure I have air in my tires. Everything's good. My insurance is good. My route, like the I-40 right now, is snow packed in certain areas. But as long as I'm able to make it down there safely, I'm good to go.
Good for you. Good. Yeah, and those are good things. Like you said, that's part of the situational awareness is the planning ahead for that, and the after action plan. I like that. That's a very good thing. I never even thought to bring up. So thank you very much for doing that. Is make that part of your plan with your situational awareness. Is if things do go wrong or things go take a turn that I wasn't really expecting, have at least have an idea of what you might do. It may never be exactly what you want to do when the situation arises. Maybe you'll modify it, but at least having a baseline of, okay, well, things do go, sideways X, Y, Z. I will probably do this. When it happens, you can go, okay, well, that part of this plan doesn't work, but this does. So we'll do that. You appear more collected, more prepared, even though you're largely winging it, because it's, it is still a bit of a winging it thing. But this is how you can become more effective at winging it as well, is once you start doing these sorts of things on a regular basis, being able to wing it and go through things a lot faster is good. And your idea of, realizing that conditions are crappy. Let's drop it back from 1 till 11, give guys a couple more hours. People appreciate that, the respect that you've taken them into consideration, and this is for other people's benefit as well. These are the little things that make people respect you more. And instead of being that, 999 things right, but do the one that makes sure that nobody does business with you, that can be the one thing that becomes the reason they do business with you, because you showed the respect to take them into account and to say, we need to give people extra time because of XYZ. And it got there. It looks like we're losing Tony. So I'll, you're kind of blacking out for a second there, but yeah, these are the things of, being aware of what's going on around. Really appreciate it. So you're popping in and out there, Tony.
Yeah,
So
the power's just going on and off.
Oh, is that what it is? Power's going off. So your lights are going out. Cool.
Yeah, I'm going off the satellite, not the Wi-Fi. So it's just the power going off.
Okay, sounds good. Either way, we'll wrap her up. We'll let you go, Tony. Appreciate you calling in as always, man. Good having you. Good luck at the Spartan race. Call back next week and let us know how you did. Eh? Kick some ass in there. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, man. We'll catch you later.
I'll be on the after meeting.
All right.
Later.
All right. So anyhow, I'm up on a full hour. Holy crap. I kind of didn't think I'd even get that long. We just kind of had to throw together an idea, and it went well. A couple of good calls in. So I want to try and get some of the guys, because we had Jaron and I had a meeting with the guys down in Miami last week. At the same time, Rich and Moff were with guys over in Breckenridge, Colorado. They went skiing, so maybe we can put together a bit of a show with, get a bunch of people on, kind of talk about the benefits of being involved in networking communities and attending these events and really getting that bonding experience. Like some of the guys that were in Breckenridge with Moff and Rich were guys that I was with in Jackson, which I was there with Jaron as well. And, some of the guys that were here with us, and so wanting to, while we were down there, we were, tagging back and forth with them, and, they posted some good pictures. We got to post some better ones. And, how are things going there and keeping in contact? Like, these are some of the benefits of, being in a larger networking community, and the possibilities and options that come with you and whatnot. And, like I say, it's like Jaron had said, I'm an admin for the 10% group, so you can join that through me, and these gives you the opportunities to do this. And like I say, I'm going to start making a twist slightly to the more to the business side. My particular group, because I'm now adminning in the 10%, I'm going to be doing more of the 10% type stuff over there. And my group's going to be spinning a little bit more business minded, business focused. So that's some of the changes that are coming. I'm actually just in the process of building a website for this. I have the domain, the Hammercast, which is the name of my show. So that's probably what it's going to be set up. So you can get a hold of me there. Either way, I'm not hard to find. You can find me on Instagram, at at the Hammercast. I'm also Hammerhead HHI. You can find me on Facebook. You know, get a hold of me on YouTube, send me a comment or whatever if you want to get in there, and I can help hook you up and get you set up. Do our business stuff more on my side, those sorts of things. Yes, Josh pushed that up there, and I appreciate that very much. Is, you know, smash the like button. Costs you nothing to smash that like button. I appreciate all the support getting up to 100 subscribers. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate that. First goal. I realize it's small, but the big ones are on the way, and I did this organically, you know, little guy by myself. And so now we're going to start making some next steps and get up to some higher levels and can really start pushing this thing and go a little bit different. That's great. So, Chris, my situational awareness said, don't fly with the wind. Guess who crashed? How much crazy glue is in that RC plane is what I want to know. Didn't get to see the infamous RC plane while I was out there in Toronto, but planning to go back in March for a bit of a meeting with the guys. So we'll talk more on that. But yeah, so like I say, I'm hoping I can have that maybe together next week. Get Jaron on and maybe Moff and we'll discuss some of these things and, you know, get Jerry on and I think Justice will be home. He's got a bit of a different itinerary on the way home. He's driving partway back and then flying back. So he's doing some research for his own business on the way. So not entirely sure if he'll be back next week to participate in that, but it'd be great to have a bit of a round panel, get a few guys on and just have a, you know, just kind of rap about the trip and the things that we did. And, you know, these are the big benefits of, you know, being in a group, you know, and your networking is where your real opportunities come from. You know, you'll get stuff being in them, but being in live and, you know, reaching out and connecting one-on-one and, you know, expanding your comfort zone. This is where you'll really get your ultimate benefits. So anyhow, like I say, this has been Bentley for, I don't hardly ever say it on here, but I should. It's been Bentley James for the Hammercast. Do me a favor, smash the like button. Share this with people you think could use it. Like I say, we're gonna start spending more business minded. So I'm gonna start looking at that way, how to get your mind right, get your, you know, work towards building business and those sorts of things. Actually spoke with a woman today who's a financial planner. I might possibly, I'm going to try and see how it ties in, have her come and do a talk on that. She's got a very unique way of putting it that helps people understand some things. Really like that conversation. And we're probably going to have an actual live in-person meeting and talk about things a little bit more. I'll maybe approach her about the subject at that point in time. I think she would be a great guest on here. You know, really unique insight that made me look at things in a very different way. I figure I know money fairly well, but I learned some things pretty good from her. So stuff like that, you know, these are the sorts of things I'm going to look at doing, you know, so like accountants, business planning, you know, if we can get some lawyers on the other networking communities. I mean, we've got lawyers in there, we've got doctors in there, we've got some high level real estate guys in there with stuff like that. So these are the sorts of guys I'm going to kind of start drawing in, asking to come on for guests and talking about various subjects. And so we're going to start taking less of just a general lifestyle shit and kind of go more business specific and, you know, different ways to put things together and maybe help some guys grow and expand that way. So at the end of the day, literally all I want is just to see you succeed. Like that's literally what it is. So anyhow, it's been Bentley James for the Hammercast. I'm going to do my live post show, which is one of the things. Join in the 10%. You know, that gets you access to that kind of stuff. My group, I'm going to get that set up, and hopefully it's done by next week. And got to get that figured out. Exactly how I'm going to have that completely set up for that part of it, and we'll move forward from there. But we always do a talk after my show every week. We talk about subjects we can't talk about on YouTube because we're not allowed to. They'll censor us, ban us, blah, blah, blah. We also get into some other things, you know, a little deeper business stuff, a little more personal stuff, guys, some mental health stuff the guys don't want to talk about publicly. We talk about behind closed scenes and help each other out with things like that, lifestyle stuff, you know, business stuff. Of course, with Jaron, you know, we're talking about women stuff. You know, he has no problem with that. I have no problem with that. So all these sorts of things, we kind of tie them all in. Really good discussions, and those are the real benefits. We can talk about things here surface level. We go really deep underground there, and that's where the real benefits are. That's the direction we're going to be moving. So anyhow, that wraps me up for tonight. Like I say, it's been Bentley James from the Hammercast. Do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe, share it with some friends, and we will catch you next week. Have a great day, because I am.